So we're really trying to establish that we are a team and we all help each other. But that is a shift of mentality that can be hard to change that way of thinking. And honestly, it resulted in some people leaving because they did not want to adjust to that way of working, that mentality.
From the business capital of the world, the Big Apple, New York's Middle Tennessee, it says here.
Yeah.
Sounds riveting. This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, a podcast about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals. Mostly.
That's right, Mr. Matt Wilson. Thank you so much for the big old VO. That's voiceover industry talk is what we call that. VO, voiceover. Go figure it out. He voices this podcast. Check him out at the Mostly Marketing Podcast with Matt Wilson. And yes, this is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, where we talk to Middle Tennessee business owners, professionals, entrepreneurs. We have real conversations that meander like a river. Conversations that are like water. This is a video and audio podcast. Check us out at MMTBP.com. You can find us, learn how to talk, follow along, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. Even apply to be a guest on the show. Check us out there at MMTBP.com. I am your host, Jim McCarthy, with JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com. And today, we are talking to... Actually, let me first set up the kind of... why you should listen to this, especially if you're in the restaurant business, or maybe you've moved to Tennessee recently, because our guest has done just that. He moved here and has jumped headfirst into the entrepreneurial community that is Spring Hill.
That's right.
Mr. Brian Stiles, sir, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, good to have you on. So if those of you who don't know Brian, there's a wonderful restaurant here in the Crossings in Spring Hill called Costa Vida, and you took over that franchise, correct?
Yeah. So this is our location here in Spring Hill. It's the only location east of the Mississippi River, so we're kind of out here on an island.
Right.
But yeah, took it over August 1st of 2023. So just past our year mark of us running it.
Just past the year.
Yeah.
Wow. So how's it going so far?
Good.
Yeah.
It's been an adventure, that's for sure. Lots of challenges, lots of headaches, but we're making some good improvements.
No, very cool. So, I mean, were you in the restaurant business? You came from Idaho, right?
Yeah, came from Idaho.
What was happening in Idaho that made you want to move here?
I love Idaho. My whole family's over in Idaho. My wife's family is in Utah, Wyoming. I love the mountains of Idaho. It's a great state. It's a really hard decision to leave. So it was less what was happening in Idaho and more just an opportunity that we thought was the right move for us at the time.
So it wasn't anything political or anything like that?
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just wanted to get, go from one beautiful area to another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Very different. We love the green, how green it is here. Miss the mountains.
Yeah. You kind of got hill. You got mountains with the Smoky Mountains here.
Yeah, I need to make it out to those. Haven't made it out to those quite yet, but
they're not like the Tetons.
No.
Is it the Tetons? Tetons?
Tetons. Yeah, Grand Teton.
Grand Teton, because it's like my English, old England comes in when my mother used to say it wasn't heavy metal, it was heavy metal. So she would, mute the T in that word.
Okay.
I don't know if you could do that with Teton.
Yeah.
It's got to be Tetons.
Yeah, Tetons. Yeah.
This is why it's a meandering conversation. You never know where it could go.
Yeah. There you go.
This is very fascinating. We're losing listeners by the second talking about the differences in Teton. So you get out here. What were you doing there?
In Idaho?
Yeah.
So I was working for Wells Fargo in their commercial bank. I was a portfolio manager, so I was underwriting loans. I was in the middle market segment, so dealing with customers making $50 million in revenue to a couple billion.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in banking, which is a far cry from
what you're doing
restaurant.
now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I got my degree in finance, ended up in banking, got to move back to Idaho. It was a great job. I enjoyed doing it. My wife thinks I'm the biggest nerd because I like numbers and find banking interesting. no one else, unless you're in banking, probably finds banking interesting.
Right.
But yeah, then just through lots of different things, decided I wanted to try to run my own business and have my own company, and ended up going in with my business partner and buying this Costa Vida.
Well, you're going and you've gotten a lot of experience with businesses in that sector of what you were doing, commercial banking, I would think.
Right, and that's one of the things that kind of started me looking at entrepreneurship. Is I was meeting with CEOs, CFOs, business owners that I just really liked their stories and what they were able to create. And while I enjoyed being on the banking side of those relationships, I thought I wanted to try my hand at essentially doing something similar to what they're doing, obviously on a much smaller scale. For the time being, we'll see what we can grow it into. But
That's a smart way to go about it, But what kind of things with that kind of background and knowledge kind of stand out to you in a small business like your own? I mean, did you identify the opportunities, things that you could fix that maybe were broken? I guess you know how to read all the different reports and things of that nature to come along with a purchase like that.
Yeah. I mean, my business partner, he got his start in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So as I was starting to talk with him, learning more about the restaurant industry, when we started looking at the financials, because that's more where my background is, right? Analyzing financial statements.
Right.
And there definitely were areas of opportunity, particularly with controlling our COGS, so our cost of goods sold, bringing that down. We thought there was opportunity with labor. There was also opportunity with operating the drive-through maybe more efficiently and promoting that a little bit more, and then also caterings.
Right. Have you heard of Cater Zen?
I have not.
Okay, so one of the last episodes, maybe last as of this recording, so this is August 9th, I think. Is it the 9th? Yeah, today's the 9th, I believe. One of my previous guests named Michael Adius has a software called Cater Zen.
Okay.
And I would strongly recommend that you look into it because he kind of like hacked the processes and procedures of catering in restaurants. He started out in barbecue restaurant and now has got the software that is like a CRM for restaurant, I guess restaurants in general, but also for catering clients and stuff like that. So might be something to look into.
Yeah, for sure. We're open to anything and everything, looking into it and trying new stuff out to try to grow the business.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's exactly what he kind of talked about dialing in. Listen to that episode. It was a good one.
Okay.
Very insightful guy, even getting like AI involved with what he's doing.
Yeah.
Which is tremendous.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a listen.
Getting to, like everything that you're talking about, you're kind of you're a numbers guy, I mean, dare I say bean counter,
You could.
But you got to balance that with culture, right? Because you have a culture in the business. You're still dealing with human beings, I mean, what kind of background did you have in that coming forward?
Not much.
Right.
In fact, I've never, when I was growing up, I purposely did not want a job in the restaurant industry. I didn't want to go work for a restaurant.
It's a rough industry, man.
It is.
Yeah.
My sister had a job in high school at a pizza joint, and just hearing stories from her, I was like, I'm never working in a restaurant. So when I was in high school, my job, I did my lawn care company.
Right. So you're always entrepreneurial in a way.
In a way. Mostly the reason why I guess it's similar reasons why I'm doing this now is I wanted my time freedom when I was in high school, and I played basketball and was involved with different things. So I thought I'd rather do my own thing where I could kind of set my own schedule.
Right.
And so lawn care is what I did. So I purposely avoided the restaurant industry. So it's actually, that's probably been the hardest part, is managing people, learning the culture of the industry. And, I have employees who have been working in restaurants for 30 years.
Wow.
And now I'm supposed to come in and try
God bless them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great people and they do good work. But it has been a really challenging aspect of taking over the restaurant with zero restaurant experience, coming in and essentially trying to turn this restaurant around.
Right. What were some of the things that you've kind of found out right off the bat, like, oh, it made you kind of go, oh, okay, did I make the right decision here, or did I bit off Mike more than I can chew?
Yeah, that was day one. It was interesting because when we took over, my business partner flew out, and we also had some people from corporate.
Yeah.
And they were out for 3 or 4 days, and they left on a Friday. So we took over on a Tuesday. They left on a Friday, and it was that Saturday. And I was there just with my crew. Not my business partner left, corporate had left. And we had a really busy rush, and I was working the drive-through with some of my employees back there, and it was so busy, which is good. It was good to be busy, but I was sweating. It was hectic, and I was just like, I felt lost the entire time, and it was my employees who were
they're helping you,
guiding me.
Yeah,
and so it was just an interesting dynamic, and so I remember driving home that night and just thinking, I have a lot to learn.
So here you are, you're fresh into business ownership, doing, in a franchise environment, hopefully getting some guidance from the corporate structure and everything, which is something that I would imagine that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also in your first time working in a restaurant,
Right.
and you just moved to town.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how much more change can you throw at you?
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been, can I ask how old you are?
30.
You're 30.
Yep.
Well, you can handle it.
Yeah.
30 is a good age to go through that kind of a thing.
Yeah. And that's what I thought when I was looking at this opportunity. I thought, I'm young enough, I can take a risk. If I fall on my face, totally fail, I can get back to banking and recover.
That's a good, they have a good reputation. The food there is always good. Everybody's always been friendly. I would imagine from the previous ownership, the other thing you got to kind of traverse is the culture that the old owners had and had their hands all over, to the, a new guy coming in and everybody being trepidatious. Like, oh crap, what's he going to do?
Right.
Was that a part of it?
It definitely was. There were some changes that we made fairly early.
Right.
And
were they just that obvious? Were they big changes that had affected people's attitudes or the culture overall? I'm a big culture guy, if you can't tell.
For instance, they were previously closing the drive-through.
Really?
And there were some reasons that they were doing that. Some of it had to do with staffing.
Yeah.
It's hard. Staffing's hard, getting employees to work. And so they felt that they were understaffed, they would close the drive-through and just focus on the dine-in customers.
Right.
We thought the problem with that was, if the drive-thru is not consistently open, then people don't trust the drive-thru. And if you're looking for something to eat quick and you want to go through a drive-thru, if you don't know that drive-thru is going to be open, you're not going to that restaurant.
Right.
Right. If you have a car with kids, you're driving home from somewhere, you got to be able to trust that drive-thru is open. It's
like the ice cream machine at McDonald's. I really want something nice and sweet and cold, but is it going to be fixed or is it going to be broken, for crying out loud?
Exactly. So here's an example. Is there was a day early on. It was a Friday. So Fridays are by far our busiest day in the restaurant, and we had 2 or 3 call outs. So we ended up having me and 2 other employees who know how to work the line. And we have 2 lines, right? We have the front line for dine-in customers, and then we have the back line for to-goes and drive-through. Typically, we need at least 5 on a busy night to run those 2 lines.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down to 3. One was a high schooler. One was a lady who is Spanish speaking, speaks very little English.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was brand new me, who had at this point worked for like 2 weeks in a restaurant.
Right.
And so the employees said, we need to close the drive-thru because there's no way we can handle the drive-thru and the front line on a Friday night with the crew we have. And we told them from day one, we are never closing this drive-thru again. If we are open, the drive-thru is open. So that was kind of a decision point for me where, okay, are we going to establish this new culture? Let them know that I'm serious about how we want this restaurant to run? Or am I going to say, yeah, it's going to be hard, so we're going to close it today? Like, here's an exception to our rule.
Like parenting.
Yeah, exactly. So we decided, like, I told him, I said, no, we're not going to close it. We're going to keep it open. We're going to communicate well with the guests and say we're short-staffed, so wait times might be a little bit longer, and we're just going to work really hard today, and we're going to get through our dinner rush. And we did. It was hard, but we communicated well with the guests. Didn't get one bad review that night, so that's a positive.
Wow. Well, you hit on a key term, and that is communication.
Yeah.
Not only with your customers, but of course with your employees.
Yeah.
Setting the expectations. Actually, my business partner who you met, he worked for Chick-fil-A for a number of years and learned a lot about culture in business because they have one of the most incredible cultures out there. So one of those things that, it might be something that, if you want to pick somebody's brain, his would definitely be one to pick.
Yeah.
When it comes to that kind of thing. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. He's all about, managers are there to work for your team. A lot of the car businesses or the dealership businesses that I work with have that same kind of outlook when it comes to employee retention and just, building a team and a culture is that the employees need to know that the managers and executive staff have their backs.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's one thing we're really trying to focus on is building the good culture for our employees.
Yeah. Another thing is one of the past, it's actually deployed now. The episode with Steve Brink, if you haven't listened to that one, is an amazing expository, if you will, on culture, because he was just an amazing culture creator inside that business. That industry is a very problematic culture industry because it can be backstabbing. It's one of the most difficult industries out there to master. And, in the sales role and stuff like that, selling cars is not generally positively looked at, by the general public. But when you have a team that's all swimming in the same direction at the same ferocity, man, what a difference it makes for that customer.
Yeah.
And he's one of these guys that he came into a situation at Crest Honda that he called it jumping from the frying pan into the fire, and he had never had general managerial experience up until that point. And he says, I just sat down with all the employees and said, look, tell me what you'd like to see. What are some of the problems I need to know about? I want to hear you. Doesn't mean everything you say is going to be implemented. I'll be honest, but I do want to hear you.
Yeah.
And it started right there, just listening to the employees and making sure that, he would get up off of his duff, even though he wasn't one of the middle managers. He was the guy running the place. He'd jump in on a deal and help a salesperson.
Yeah.
And he says that changes the paradigm of the conversation all the time. When they know you've got your back. Not that you're saying, I would imagine you're doing that. So
we're definitely trying. That's one thing we had to change was when we got there, a lot of the employees were siloed.
Yeah.
Meaning, first, we have cooks there because we make our food from scratch. So we have cooks there. So when we got there, or before, they had their job and that's what they did. They did their job.
Right.
And when they were done with their job, they left. What we wanted to focus on was we are a team and we are all here to serve the customers and to provide our customers the best experience possible.
Right.
What that could mean is if we are in the middle of our rush and we're out of tortillas, maybe we call our hot prep, the cook, up to press tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
Some people had a hard time with that because they said, that's not my job.
Right.
So for this past year, and we're still working on it, is you don't have a set job other than we serve our customers and provide them a great experience. Now, typically that might mean you're a cold prep or you're a dishwasher or you work the drive-through line. But that doesn't mean if we need it for them to come and assist in other areas. Right. So we're really trying to establish that we are a team and we all help each other. But that is a shift of mentality that can be hard to change that way of thinking. And honestly, it resulted in some people leaving because they did not want to adjust to that way of working, that mentality. And it's hard decisions, but you'd rather someone who's not wanting to pick up on the team player aspect and bring someone in who will be a team player so we can set that culture.
Does your garage door sound like this? If it does, it's screaming for help. Call Incredible Doors, 931-348-DOOR. We're making garage doors in Murray and Williamson counties work better, sound better, and, well, spring better. We just make them incredible again. Incredible Doors in Spring Hill. For when your door's springs break, you need remote reconnections, opener installation, or just about anything to do with your garage door. Go to IncredibleDoors.com or call 931-348-DOOR. Follow us on Facebook for specials on maintenance visits, keypads, and other items. 931-348-DOOR. I agree with you. The only thing I'll ask is whenever you have that conversation with somebody, because it happened to us in radio a lot. Hey, you got to be a team player, even though you're taking on other radio stations. We just, acquired more radio stations. We need you to wear more hats, so to speak, and be a quote team player. And that happened numerous times in that industry, but without the compensation to match. And that's where you run into that conflict that, okay, it becomes a selling game at that point, asking the employee, okay, what would make sense? Because you may have a number in mind, and in selling, it's who you're talking to. What do you have in mind before I tell you what I have in mind?
Yeah.
Because you may say it and all of a sudden the employee is going, oh, hell yeah. I was just thinking this.
Yeah.
You're thinking this, So, I mean, that's a conversation to be had. Was that something that you took into consideration with that when you made those changes?
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple of ways we went about it. One was, let's use the dishwasher example, right? Saying, hey, dishwasher, when we are busy, we want you to come up and help on the front line. Mm-hmm. The dishwasher will then say, well, then I'm going to get behind on my dishes. And then my job gets a lot harder.
Right.
And so part of that dynamic was, okay, after the rush, then instead of people up front just kind of standing there waiting for more guests to come in, we're going to send someone
help me with the dishes
to go back and help with the dishes.
Yeah.
So essentially what we've been trying to establish is we want to work more efficiently. Mm-hmm. So we can make everyone's jobs easier. Like I would communicate or try to communicate that I'm not trying to make your job harder. I am just trying to find the most efficient way to serve our customers and everyone get their jobs done.
Right.
We did, to your point, give raises. I mean, if we are asking more from people, then we did raises, and a lot of it was, hey, can we adjust your role and change what you're doing? And if you get trained up and if you're able to help the store in this way, then we're going to give you a bump. And then the important part is to follow through with that, because I haven't had this happen to me yet, but I just know if you mess with the employee's payment and if you say you're going to give them a raise and then don't follow through on it, you're going to lose the respect so quick. So
you signal so much.
Yeah.
When you do that.
Yeah. So that's been, I'm always very careful with employees' pay and getting them paid on time. When I say they're going to, process the payroll on time. And if there's a raise, then we get that process.
And for those of you who are listening or watching this episode, Brian, just to kind of reiterate, he owns the local franchise for Costa Vida, which is, I'm going to describe it and see if I nail it.
Sure.
Is like a Baja Mexican fare, which you get you can do burritos. They make the tortillas right there. In front of you, everything's all kind of a little bit of an a la carte, kind of build the burrito as you go along, but they've also got bowls you can have. Their queso is just, I think it's one of the best aspects of what you do there. It's off the charts, man.
Yeah. Good. Glad you like it.
Did I hit it? I mean, how do you guys explain it?
Perfect. Yeah. We're Baja, California style Mexican food. So if you're looking for something super authentic, I still want you to come see us, but just know that you're not getting the authentic food.
Now, did Mexican you say, were you familiar with the brand before you moved here?
Yeah. So Costa Vida is actually really big out west. So really? Idaho, they started in Utah, big in Idaho. They're in Arizona, California. So there's about 100, a little less than 100 locations brand wide, but they are definitely predominantly in the West. So I grew up going to Costa Vida. Back in Idaho, everyone knows.
So you're seeing like, well, crap, they're barely out in Middle Tennessee. I could probably be the multi-franchise owner at some point.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
So we got to get this one a little more popular, a little busier, but
it's your flagship.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that it's all dialed in and everything, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's so many stories like that. Again, I always talk about my clients, the Dream Motor Group, Mr. Joe Agresti, and they own the local Mercedes-Benz of Music City and the Ferrari dealership here in town. But he started, and I'll send you his video, his impetus to get into the car business, because he was a banking guy too.
Really?
But I think he was in mergers and acquisitions mostly.
Okay.
And he had some ins with some clientele that he had with Mercedes-Benz, and eventually got his own dealership, which was in Baton Rouge. So he bought into the dealership and implemented his culture strategy. I guess over the course, I would love to talk to him about it, Joe. I mean, you know this. And what like the first 9-10 years of that part of his life were like until he started expanding. He bought into Birmingham, Alabama, then he built in the Woodlands, Texas, and then he ended up buying the property and building a point up here in Nashville. And now he's got 2 more points in South Florida. So, it's very doable.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's also one of the guys we're trying to get on is he owns most of the McDonald's franchises here in Middle Tennessee, like 48 of them. Yeah. It's nuts. Jana knows him.
Yes.
Jana Truman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you been introduced to him?
Yes. Yeah.
It's Phil something. I can't remember. I'm sorry, Phil. We talked at their event. I got to have you on. I got to reach out to you, but I'm spacing on your name. I know it's Phil. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last names too.
It's not just me.
I'm terrible with names.
Yeah,
I forget their last name, but they're great people.
I'm so bad with names, Bob. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I know it's Brian. So you get into this, you've got like a game plan moving forward. Costa Vida being pretty big out west. I once upon a time lived out west in Vegas.
Okay.
And it's funny, I had the same kind of idea with a restaurant called Baja Fresh.
Okay.
Remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Were they up in Idaho?
I don't remember them being in Idaho.
God, their food was so good.
They could have been in Idaho. I'm not sure, but
yeah. That was like our Friday night thing, and I'd get done at the radio station. I'd go pick up Baja Fresh, and my wife and I would eat in our condo.
Okay.
In Vegas before we went out, and that was our dinner.
There you go.
Yeah, they're just so good. And then we moved here, and I believe they had a Baja Fresh in Brentwood or Cool Springs, and I got introduced to Baja Burrito, which is off of Thompson Lane by Guitar Center.
Okay.
Yeah, that Berry Hill area. Mm-hmm. It's been a staple for as long as I've been here, which is almost 20 years. And of course, before then, they were just huge. Every lunch hour there is just mobbed.
Really?
Mobbed, But I mean, it's almost like Blue Coast Burrito, I think, the same kind of model. Mm-hmm. But Baja Burrito feels a little bit more home, like local.
Okay.
I think it's more locally owned, I believe. I'd love to talk to those guys too. But Costa Vida. I mean, that's certainly something to pursue here. It's certainly been popular.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we make the food from scratch. I think we have a good product. We're focused on customer service. So hopefully, when people come in, they experience that good food with great customer service. And I think if we can just get the word out a little bit more, then this location is going to pick up, and then we're going to be looking for our second one. Absolutely.
I think you doing what you're doing, because you are in BNI with me, that's a good idea, because it's an easy catering solution. Mm-hmm. I believe it could be an easy referral for a lot of people. Oh, I got a guy.
Yeah.
This is very, it just completely makes sense. Getting to the corporate aspect of it and the franchisor helping you out, what are their plans like? What kind of models do they have in place to get these things really going, how they see it? Because are they new into the I guess they're not, if you've grown up with it.
So Costa Vida has been around for around 20 years.
Okay.
They've actually recently switched their business model to expanding corporate locations. So they're actually not taking on new franchisees.
Well, what does that mean for you here locally?
So they will allow us to expand. So they have the existing franchisees. They will allow them to expand.
So you've been grandfathered in?
Right.
Okay.
And really so my business partner, he's been in the Costa Vida brand. He owns Costa Vidas out in Colorado.
Not Colorado?
Colorado.
Well, that's the thing is that, again, this is meandering conversations. Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Colorado.
Yeah, Boise. Heard it all ways. But yeah, he's out in Colorado. I think he's going on year 18 with his first location.
Oh wow.
So he's been in it for a while. So that's the only reason why I was able to even come on as a franchisee, as an owner, is because I partner with him. So they will allow us to expand. Corporate is focused right now. They're expanding through Arizona and Texas. So we're not in their growth model. So we essentially have a clear runway where we're not necessarily worried about other franchisees coming in to the Tennessee area. Corporate is still quite a ways away from wanting to expand in Tennessee. So that's one of the reasons why we thought this was a good opportunity for us, was if we could get this existing Costa Vida turned around a little bit, we had this clear runway of expansion.
Right.
So corporate will help with a lot of those efforts to expand. They have some people that we can work with as far as site location goes, but it's not necessarily their focus right now. So a lot of it is up to us as far as picking a new location, deciding when we want to expand.
But they got a playbook, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah.
Certainly what has worked over 20 years.
Yeah, they do. Anchored by a grocery location.
Right.
So if we're in a complex that shared with a Target, like we are in the same complex as Target, right, even though it's on the other end of the strip center. If you can get in
more so Kohl's on that.
Yeah,
end.
More so Kohl's, which honestly doesn't help us a ton because that Kohl's isn't necessarily super busy. No, right. Apologies to anyone who works at Kohl's, but
come on, Kohl's, get it together.
Yeah, help us out there. So if we were right across from Target, that would be more beneficial than being across a retailer like Kohl's. Or
what about doing like a lunch special that you could put out to, where people are getting a car wash or something like that? Hey, buy a car wash, you get, when they go through a car wash, they get a coupon for $1 off or something like that.
Yeah.
Partnering with other businesses.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm actually talking with the movie theater down the road, seeing if we can come up with.
Is anybody still going to the movies though? I mean,
depends. The new Wolverine.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Are you a big Marvel guy or?
I do like Marvel. I see all your Marvel stuff here.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Can you tell that I'm into that stuff? Or?
Yeah, honestly, I followed it up pretty closely through the Avengers Endgame and through the Thanos.
You're not alone.
Since then, I haven't.
It's finding itself again.
Yeah. It's just there's a lot of storylines, and I find, and now they got the TV show, so it's like if you don't watch all the TV shows, then I tend to get. I'm a little lost at this point, if that makes sense. But I really enjoyed it through the Endgame Thanos demise.
The culmination of the Infinity Saga.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the thing with I had a podcast that was going for about 11 episodes. We probably should bring it back. It's called Capes and Hammers. Basically, it was all talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Universe, that kind of thing. So I probably need to bring it back because it still gets downloads. And I haven't recorded an episode in 2 years.
Yeah.
So probably need to reprise it because there's a lot that's happened that can be talked about. My goodness. Yeah. Holy crap.
That could help people like me who get a little lost and I need that guidance of what is going on.
Yes. But it's definitely kind of lost its way. And they're trying to figure it out once again. Now they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back into the picture as, I guess, a variant of Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I don't really have the expertise in the comics,
Yeah. See, so I saw that and I was talking to my wife. I'm like, he's coming back. Is it
a villain?
It's a villain? I didn't even know it was a villain.
He's a villain.
So are they bringing in Iron Man? Like, is he Tony Stark reincarnated as? See, that's where I'm like, I'm a little lost. I don't know what's going on. Are they just ignoring the fact that the same actor played Iron Man, or is it?
Well, they've had different actors play different characters throughout the years. I mean, Ryan Reynolds always played Deadpool, but he was also Green Lantern in the DC universe.
Okay, yeah.
And he, in the Deadpool movies, he points to that, makes fun of it and everything. Chris Evans played the Flame. I think that's his name. In the Fantastic Four, before he took on the role as Captain America. Robert Downey Jr.'s first iteration into the MCU was he is Iron Man. Right. So it's not like they haven't done that before.
Okay.
I've heard about Tom Cruise potentially doing a different multiversal variant of Iron Man.
Really?
That would make sense.
Yeah.
He'd be a good Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think he would be.
So who knows? Maybe they'll do that because they'll tend to do all the things that have murmurings. They tend to bring to reality at some point. That's at least what they're doing. Because even with the Spider-Man No Way Home, the notion of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in those movies, Andrew Garfield is on, you can look him up on YouTube now, where he denies vehemently, nah, man, that's not happening. I'm not going to be part of the movie. And that was one of the big, oh my gosh moments.
Yeah.
And
that was great. I love that movie.
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
They've had some highlights. I mean, here we are, mostly Middle Tennessee business, not talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They had a lot of good ones since Endgame. I think one that I have to go back and give another chance to is The Eternals. That wasn't a bad movie, but I think probably could have been fleshed out over a TV series. They haven't done much with it. Shang-Chi was a great movie. Can't wait for the next iteration of that. The Guardians movie was fantastic. Yeah. What a great backstory for Rocket.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
The Guardians is the only one I've seen.
The first one?
No, I've seen all the Guardians, but of the three you just mentioned,
right?
The Guardians was the only one I've seen since.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I haven't seen the others.
You've seen Spider-Man, No Way Home.
I've seen Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen Guardians, the third one.
Right.
Yeah, The Eternals, if you have Disney Plus, take a couple hours and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Date night tonight with my wife.
Yeah, go ahead. It's interesting because they talk about the Celestials and I can't remember the name of the antagonist in that movie. It's like a species of character, but
okay.
Yeah, it's almost like Thanos is partly one of them. The Deviants, that's what they're called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's part deviant. And they introduce his brother at the end. Now that I'm giving it all away to you.
Okay, there you go.
So, crazy. Moving forward, you also have another hidden talent that nobody knew. Obviously, people in B&I are getting to know you very well. I think you're beloved in the chapter. You did your presentation and you did some photography and showed some of your photos that are like National Geographic-esque.
I don't know about that.
My goodness, dude. Wow.
I appreciate that.
But I mean, is that something you could take that talent and take, food pictures, right? With that, or is that something you're interested?
No.
Apply your art for Instagram.
Yeah,
you don't want to
taking food pictures. I have no interest in food. People can't stand taking pictures of people.
Can't stand people.
Some people. No, just kidding. Right. As long as you come to my restaurant, then I love you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm very strictly landscape, wildlife, photography.
You a Canon guy?
Canon guy. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Always been a Canon guy. But yeah, haven't figured out how to weave it into Costa. That's one nice thing about having a corporate is they're supposed to take.
Well, I think
do stuff for us for that.
You did mention that, I believe, in your presentation. I said, what about taking the meals and the food out to really scenic locations? Oh,
yeah.
And putting them up in the foreground with the, the background.
Yeah. That'd be something cool. Like, where's Costa today?
Right.
Oh, there at Fall Creek Falls or, something cool or downtown Nashville. And
you could almost do there's actually an Instagram account that leaves money around town. And I believe they do it in different towns as well. I don't remember the name of the account or the handle, of course, because it's a name and I forget names. But they literally will take a picture of them taping money underneath like a handrail. Okay. And then they'll do a quick like sweep over to show you generally where it is. And then that's it.
Okay.
I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, you could do that. Maybe some, free lunch. Hey, today's free lunch is here, and it's around Spring Hill. And
yeah,
dude, that maybe it's something to try.
That would be good.
That's a fun little gimmick to get some more attention for the restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. Get some free burritos over at.
I come up with ideas, and they're generally really good, but most of them suck.
I do like that one.
That is
we're always looking for a little way to get more marketing out there, just a little more awareness. So ideas like that, I mean, that could go very well.
Where's today's free lunch?
Yeah, exactly.
You like it?
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Do like a little, like a harder clue. Yeah. And then like an hour later, do an easier clue.
Well, I don't know if you need to go that far. I would just make it, so it's efficient on your time. You're going to go out maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. Let me go grab a picture of a free lunch coupon and, obviously planning out your places ahead of time or making it a fun thing for an employee to do that they get to pick the place.
Yeah.
And send them out and do it. And you kind of rotate and it's a culture building thing.
Yeah. That could be
good ideas.
Employee of the week part of your thing is, you get to run with this idea for the week and you get to choose the location or something like that.
And they send you the video and you put it up on the Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe even because that could be, you could do that on Facebook, but getting it on the local pages would be tough because they've been, for some reason, the local iHeart Spring Hills and Spring Hill iHeart, they've been cracking down on posts. So yeah. If you were able to, if it's obviously benefit to the community, I could see them approving the post quickly. But, getting people to follow the Facebook page for that reason. Hey, where's today's free lunch?
Yeah.
There you go.
You're
welcome.
Yeah. Send me the bill for your consulting fee.
Well, maybe. Well, awesome, man. How do people find and follow you and get a hold of you? Are you just at Costa Vida or do you have your own Instagram handle and all that stuff?
Facebook is the best. Costa Vida Spring Hill on Facebook. Costavida.com. If you want to do any ordering, you can find us there. Personally, I'm on Instagram, especially my photography, Brian Styles Photography.
It's BRIAN?
Yep, STILES Photography. That's where you can find me. So Facebook for Costa, website for Costa. We have an app for Costa.
Nice. You all have the delivery integration in that as well, into the app? Yeah,
so you can request delivery, and then we do third party delivers. Okay. So like DoorDash is, so you can order through like DoorDash, or you can order through the app and request delivery.
I see. Well, very cool.
Or you can swing by the restaurant, pick it up, come through the drive-thru. You can order on the app, come through the drive-thru. We'll have it ready for you. Yeah. Just pull it to the window. We try to make it as easy as we can to get people food.
Well, I mean, a lot of the aspect too, you've got that back room, right? Mm-hmm. You go from the drinks and then you can stay in that main dining room or go to the back room.
Right.
Do they get really filled up during dinner time or lunchtime, both of those rooms?
People like that back area, especially families or larger groups, because it's a little more private, a little more secluded. So that one definitely does fill up.
Offer it up for lunch and learns. Like you find have a way to close it off. And for people who want to rent it out or something like that, it's another revenue.
Yeah. The hardest part is our bathrooms are back there. So we have to keep at least a walkway so people can access the bathrooms. Otherwise, health departments get mad at me.
Right. But, that got to be a problem.
Yeah, you don't want the health department mad at you.
Are you living in town as well?
Yeah, so I'm actually down in Columbia, so not too far.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm definitely as local as you can get.
Nice. Well, very good. Well, there you go, guys. Go seek them out. I certainly recommend it. It's always a treat to go there. Try not to go there too much because otherwise you get this. But there are healthy options, of course. If you can make good choices while you're there and have a nice healthy lunch as well with some grilled chicken and salad and greens and all the colored food and all that stuff. So check them out, Costa Vida Spring Hill on Facebook and Instagram too. Is that the both handles for them?
We are actually not on. It's just Costa Vida for Instagram.
Okay. So you can actually do that idea executed on Facebook.
Execute on Facebook. There's a Costa Vida brand page on Instagram, but not a store specific.
Can you do one?
Right now, they're not allowing us to. It is one of my big pushes with corporate.
Well, now you got a reason for it.
Yeah, and I have lots of reasons. Like the high schools, all the high schools are like, you got to advertise on Instagram. It's like, well, the corporate's not letting me get Instagram right now, so it's a big. We're pushing for it. But
what happens if you just ask for forgiveness rather than permission? Costa Vida corporate's looking at this going, no, dude, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah, if anyone at corporate listens to this, I absolutely won't do that. But maybe I will.
Well, let's lay it out for them. Corporate, these are great ideas. You got to, let Costa Vida SH be a thing on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, all the other collaborations, when they're national appeals, hey, we can collaborate with Costa Vida corporate.
Yeah.
Make sure they're tagged and everything.
I had thought of doing like my own like individual Instagram page where it's like not an official Costa Vida, but do something like the wave report, right? Because we're Costa, we're the beach. So Middle Tennessee wave report, right? Which doesn't make sense because we don't have an ocean, but it's all of course Costa. Yeah, we have we
had some waves in 2010 when we had 100-year flood. So
ooh, wow, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it wasn't.
So yeah,
look it up. It was staggering.
Was it?
Oh gosh, it rained straight for 3 days.
Oh wow!
And it was like the storm just parked itself over Middle Tennessee and dumped. Gosh, it was a 100-year flood. It affected the Cumberland. They didn't release the water quick enough, so everything backed up. The flooding was off the charts.
Really?
It was just disastrous.
Yeah, and here I didn't really know what real rain was until I moved here.
Which is odd, because I would imagine you get rain in Idaho. I mean, it's a pretty lush area.
Right? We're a desert in Idaho,
really?
So we get like 11 to 12 inches of rain a year.
Really? I didn't realize it was that much of a desert. I guess a northern, more of a tundra, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never really been to Idaho, so.
Yeah, so the mountains they get snowpack, but growing up when we were learning our different geographic areas, it was always you live in the desert, and I never liked that because I don't like the desert. But
it's a different kind of it's not like the Mojave, where we lived in Vegas.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to stay in Vegas. But
it was all right.
Yeah.
It was good for us. But maybe there's a plan there for a corporate to consider the Instagram page for local.
Yes.
Maybe you lead the way, and show, hey, here's what we can do to it. And, it benefits corporate because they can highlight these, say, look what they're doing in Spring Hill. Mm-hmm. Would you like this for your markets here? That kind of thing. And it gets that engagement going with the fans. So.
Yeah, I'm totally on board for that.
Oh, there you go. Maybe I helped you out.
Yeah. Like I said, just add it to your consulting fee and we'll get you paid.
It's just ideas. I have no idea how to execute on them. Well, there you go. Brian Stiles with Costa Vida here in Middle Tennessee. Make sure to check them out. They are on DoorDash. They're on the app does have the delivery aspect. Those of you who have had them before, those of you who have not tried them, make sure you try them because they really are. I think they're very worth it. It's a very good. You feel good about it because you can have those good choices. And not a lot of things that are fried or anything like that. Of course, you can make the bad choices with the chips and queso like I do, but you can also have the greens and all that fun stuff. Fair enough, right?
Yeah, totally fair.
Awesome, buddy. And of course, follow us at MMTBP.com. If you want to be on the show, we have a link there to click on and apply to be on the show. Just had somebody do that from a place in Franklin they want to be on. So congrats. Thank you for that. Kudos. And I think we're going to have her on fairly soon. So it does work. It is a real thing. And reach out. MMTBP.com. Review, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Brian, thanks for being on, pal.
Yeah, thanks for having me.